We're sailing on waters in the west of Scotland, heading to a fish farm where around 1,000 tonnes of salmon are bred every year. And we're in the company of all these marine biologists. They think today's European aquaculture can become more imaginative, more profitable, more efficient and more sustainable. Here's how and why.
Together with salmon, workers here plan to harvest around 150,000 scallops and 60 tonnes of mussels this year. It's the result of an ongoing pilot test on a technique called integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. Just downstream from the salmon cages, underwater lines of other aquaculture species are bred, thanks in part to the nutrients left over by the salmon. A win-win situation, experts here say.
For the salmon, we were hoping that we can reduce the amount of phytoplankton. Potentially we can knock down things like sea lice, so the jury's still out on that, but also to improve carbon footprint and to get an improvement that way, but also to get a cash crop of another species or species that we can sell as food.
Scientists from a European research project are studying 6 further pilot sites across the continent to identify the ideal conditions for the growth of alternative seafoods and the challenges posed when next to traditional fish farms. The stakes are high, researchers say.
There's a lack of knowledge in a lot of countries about which species to farm. This has been really important in the Mediterranean, where the conditions are very different to what you see here in the Mediterranean. There's very low nutrients and a very different species mix. And then you have economic issues. You've got to do this in a way that turns a profit for the farmer. And so the species that you grow, you've got to have a good market for them.
The seaweed market is steadily growing with multiple food and pharmaceutical applications.
The seaweed that we grow here, one of the reasons it grows well here is because we're adjacent to the salmon cages.
Samples of seaweed or other alternative species are taken to labs to determine the ideal conditions for growth when next to traditional fish farms.
So we're looking at length, we're looking at weight, we're looking at the distribution of that across the line to see whether there's more growth nearer the salmon farm or less growth farthest away from the farm. There is also, on behalf of our partners in the project, they're interested in looking at the composition of the seaweed, so what the seaweed's absorbing and taking up while it's growing on the site. For instance, its nutrients levels, whether, for instance, it's picking up things like heavy metals at all, and also some of the natural chemical components, whether their components are affected by being grown close adjacent to a salmon farm.
Researchers want to accurately determine the new technique's best practices, environmental record and real impact on animals' health. Only then will it be time to look ahead in a market full of promise, they say.
There's a real need for the European aquaculture industry to grow because it's stagnating, whereas our demand for seafood is increasing and the global market is increasing. So IMTA can be one of the tools that allows that expansion by diversifying the industry away from finfish, by creating more jobs and by creating new opportunities and new products.
Fish farming supplies approximately 50% of the fish and seafood consumed worldwide. This new aquaculture approach is currently only being used in some Asian countries and Canada.